Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another spectacular episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I'm your host, that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching. Where's he going next? Nobody knows. 4 continents down, 2 more to go. No cap, straight facts. The worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about me. You see, we have a special guest tonight. This man wears several hats. He's actually a wrestling photographer. And not only that, he's actually a fellow podcaster. He is the producer and host of Ringville. Everybody, welcome to the show, KHS Kevin Herrera Sanchez. How you doing tonight, sir?
Man, can I say thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. This is actually one of the things I was looking forward to the most. Your introductions are always super spectacular, and it's a great way to get people hyped and ready. And man, I am absolutely excited for this. I've been a fan for a while. I've watched some of your interviews. You and Rob going back and forth, just chatting wrestling. It's been a really good time to see ya. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It really means a lot because sometimes I'm like, man, is it really worth it doing this? I mean, I don't know why I keep going on and on. And it's fellow fans like you that are like, yeah, we actually enjoy your stuff, and we've actually been watching. So I'm like, oh wow, I guess I should keep on keeping on then. So thank you very much for that. We really truly do appreciate it. We've seen some of your stuff too, very well put together. And man, your photography work, man, I'm about to say, man, I do some photography myself too as well, believe it or not. But
Yeah.
what
Oh,
you guys
okay.
do, man, it's not easy. I once tried doing ringside photography when I was in LA almost 3 years ago. And I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, my stuff was all over the place, which and I was doing like roughly like 1 or 2 years into photography. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave this for
Okay.
the experts. I'm gonna just stick to portraits and whatever I do at
Yeah.
Comic-Con and so on. I mean, I'm gonna leave that for y'all,
Hmm.
man.
I feel that. I feel that because yeah, it's a learning process, just like everything else.
Yeah.
Um, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's a good time. But I appreciate the compliments.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you, man, and I asked like 99% of our guests here, how did it all start? What was the event that got you
Mhm.
interested in professional wrestling that made you go, yo, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna tune in next week and the week after and the next month, and now y'all got me for life.
Mhm. Yeah. It was actually not even like a match. It was a backstage segment. It
Okay.
was in
Wow.
2006. Yeah,
Okay.
which I think just shows like how important backstage segments are. Um, I was sitting on like the corner of my dad's bed, and he was just flipping through the channels, and he just stops on wrestling, whatever, I think USA, whatever was happening, and it was, I believe, the year 2006, and it was a segment between John Cena, Booker T, and the Big Show, and it was leading up to Cyber Sunday, and they were like, I think the match consisted of just the fans were going to vote on which title would be on the line, and I just kind of saw the characters, like seeing Booker T be this like royal kind of persona, and just the way he would speak and enunciate his words, and then seeing this like giant of a man, Big Show, and it was like, and it was big show too, where it was like, oh snap, he can just break people in half out of nowhere. And then
Mhm.
Cena, like as a kid, I was in 2006, I was what, like maybe 7 or 8 years old. So
Okay.
Cena was, it was absolutely like the fan base that Cena was trying to grab. And yeah, like I just saw him, and then I was like, oh, hold up, what is this? I'm into this. This is funny. This is interesting. And it was just like stakes. I was like, wait, I didn't really grasp the idea of what like a champion in wrestling was, but I knew that all three of them were important because of how they were talking and what they were saying, and the like the fear of losing your title to other people, So I was like, oh no, I want to watch this. So I then like watched it like probably Friday or the following Monday, and I was like introduced to Undertaker, Batista. Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels, and like all these other superstars. And I was like, oh, now this is it right here. This is me.
Okay, wow. That's you when you started watching, that was like almost the tail end of the ruthless aggression era, which was a pretty nice time.
Yeah.
It's a funny story that I had. It was 2006. I was asking a coworker of mine
Mhm.
at that time. I was like, dude, do you think Triple H will ever reform D Generation X? Because this is when Triple H was Triple H. He was like the game, and he was like
Mhm.
on top of the world as well too.
Right.
And they were like, my coworker was like, "Nah, I don't think so. It's not gonna happen, you know."
Mhm.
And then lo and behold, several months later, he and Shawn Michaels reformed D Generation X, and
Yep.
I was like, "Wow, they actually did it.
Yeah.
That's something. I never expected this. I never expected Triple H to be okay with it, but I guess
Right.
he's good."
And then their
So,
feud with Rated RKO,
oh yeah,
incredible. Like I genuinely thought Randy Orton and Edge killed Ric Flair. I was a kid. I was just when they did the concerto,
oh
and
yeah,
he was just bleeding like crazy. I was like, oh, this man is like, he's dead. They murdered him.
yeah.
I was there like, yo, as a kid, just kind of, because as a kid, it's I was just like, I was buying into everything, and I was like, nah, no way.
Oh, okay, wow. So growing up, did you ever get to go to any of the live events, or you just watched from home?
I just watched from home. Like it was I wasn't fully aware on how to like find them or how to like see when they were like be in my town, especially because I wouldn't watch the pay-per-views just because we couldn't, buy them.
Right.
And then SmackDown was the show I probably watched the most because I didn't have school the following day. Monday I would always be sent to sleep at like 9 p.m. I'm just like, damn, so I'm missing a lot of it. So like my first live event, believe it or not, wasn't until NXT Takeover Toronto
Yeah.
in I believe it was 2019 when it was Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano and that's 3 stages of hell match. That
Yeah.
was like my first ever event.
Wow. I remembered trust me, the whole 9 p.m. thing too, it happened to me too.
Yeah.
9 p.m. Yeah, I only
Mhm.
got to see the first half of Raw, and then the second half I would yep, gotta go to bed.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
what I used to do, I wasn't the only wrestling fan in my household. I had a cousin,
Hmm.
like with my aunt and her 3 kids.
Hmm.
And my cousin, who was the middle child, who was like roughly 8 years older than me,
Okay.
and I'm probably gonna get him in trouble for this. If I hopefully my aunt never sees this.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm sorry, bro. My bad. But
Uh,
this was like 30. This was like 30 years ago. I'm an old man. I'm in my 40s. But he used to sneak me out. He used to tell me, "Yo, come out. You can still come out and watch." And I used to watch the rest of it
yeah.
at like up until 10 o'clock. Then I used to go to bed. And I remember those days, and I remembered sometimes if it was 3 hours, I'd watch it up until 11, then go to bed.
Mhm.
And eventually we had a small TV in our bedroom,
Yeah.
so when I'd get sent to bed, or sometimes I just go to bed, but yeah, I'm off to bed now, and I would block out the light and just watch everything with the volume low. So trust me,
No,
I, I've been there
yeah.
myself.
I
I,
feel that.
I know
I
how it
feel that.
is.
I remember we had this TV in our living room and it would make like this loud noise when you ever turned it on. So my older brother and I figured out that if we just put a bunch of pillows where the speakers were,
Yeah.
we would just block the sound when it turned on and we would put it on like mute or just like you a super low volume and we would just watch it until we heard somebody coming down the hallway. We would turn it off and then just like pretend to be asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, those days, man, they were now. Now it's like you send the kids to bed. They got the cell phones with them. Like, yeah, they're watching, and then turn off the cell phone, and they're like sleep. I
Yeah,
tell
it's
you,
that
oh,
it's that like
geez.
Game Boy or 3DS under the sheets, Like that's
Yeah.
what that.
So, who were some of your favorites that you enjoyed watching growing up, man?
Oh, for sure, Shawn Michaels. He's always
Okay.
he's always like at the top of my list just because like the way he moved in the ring. Like as a kid, I didn't fully understand what made a good wrestler or what made a great wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew Shawn Michaels was great. Just it's like because he always hooked me with his matches. He was funny. He made me laugh. And then it's like he also had the side of him that was serious and dramatic in a good way, where he reached and like he was able to reach out and like grab people's attention and make them connect emotionally. Batista was super cool. Like I used to go on www.com, go to like the superstar like info and bio,
Yeah.
and I remember reading that Batista collected like lunchboxes. I was like, oh, you know what? I have a cool lunchbox. It was like this Batman TV one,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh, if I ever meet Batista, I'm gonna show it to him. Um, it's like Jeff Hardy. Like, how can you not? Like
Oh
man is
yeah.
doing the craziest things. He's like just jumping off ladders. I remember that build to the Rumble 2007 when he was facing Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
He jumped off that like huge thing, like
Yeah.
right by the entrance, right? Like
Yeah.
that's another thing. I remember I stayed up for that. Pillows on his TV, and and just was just like in awe of just like whoa, hold up, this is what wrestling can be. Um, I was also a really big fan of like Mickey James.
Okay.
Like it was probably little kid me was like hold up, who this? Like she fine, and then but she was also someone who's like I believe was ahead of maybe not even ahead because you also had Lita Tristratus,
Mm.
uh, and other women's wrestlers who was like really putting in the work. But it was just like before they transitioned into like the divas era of wrestling,
Yeah.
whereas like you still had your workers, and it's like just Mickey James like super fire to me. She was dope.
Yeah.
Um, and man, I probably have like so many more that I'm just forgetting, but it's like there's tons.
So did you ever get to meet any of them, or just seen them on TV?
Just seeing them on TV, man. Like I wouldn't like as a kid, I wasn't even able to like I didn't find out about like meet meet and greets, right? So it's like my fandom of wrestling really was just kind of through TV and maybe
Okay.
www.com whenever I had like access to a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was very isolated from the fandom in terms of like going to events, meeting wrestlers, or just like going to these other things they would do. And it wasn't until I got older where I was like, oh wait, hold up, I can do this. But then when I got older, I was like, oh wait, this costs money. Like I'm just like, oof.
Yeah, I didn't know about meet and greets till like probably because I used to see people taking pictures with them, and I'm like, I didn't know
Mm,
like my head or tail. And like I said, I was a late bloomer, so it wasn't
yeah.
until probably like 20, I like to say 2011, 2012, when my other
Okay.
crew member in Ringside Society, Chris Cartwright, he told me, yeah, let's go to an indie show. Let's check out. I was like, indie show, like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Mm,
I'd never been to one before. And when I went to it, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I couldn't believe I was actually talking to like wrestlers in person. And then
that's dope.
this was like before that I went to WrestleMania week. I didn't know that before that I went to WrestleMania in London. That same year was my first WrestleMania I ever went to as well. It was WrestleMania, what was it, 28 in Miami,
In
Rock versus C.
2012? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
like
fire.
I didn't know like there were so many events going on. There were meet and greets. There was a Ring of Honor show. Um, there was the Hall of Fame that me and my friends went to. It was like a bunch of us. It was like several of us. And when I was done, I was
Okay.
like, wow, this is not just WrestleMania. WrestleMania week is definitely a vibe,
Hmm.
man. Like I like this. And um I started going. I thought the only places that would do meet and greets were like the indie shows. And I started getting heavy into
Yeah.
going into indie shows. And then all of a sudden I found out about WrestleCon and the big event. I'm like, oh wow, so this is where
Hmm.
they meet all of them. Okay. And I've gotten to meet several
Right. Right.
as a result of that. Like I've seen Jeff Hardy. I haven't met him yet. I'm definitely gonna make it a thing
Okay.
to take a picture with him and Matt one day. Um
Yeah. Hell
Funny
yeah.
thing
I
you
mean,
mentioned.
they be pulling up the hog,
Go ahead.
the House of Glory. Maybe the Hardy, they come to hug
Oh
every
yeah,
now and then.
yeah. I've seen the highlights and everything. I've funny thing we're talking about Jeff Hardy. I remember Jeff Hardy was so inspirational that there was a time in my life when I was doing a bunch of crazy hairstyles. I had a mohawk. At one time, I had the Triple H Motorhead
Okay.
thing. We cut off this part of the beard and had the rest of
Yeah.
this here. I had that at one point.
Mm. Oh,
One I
okay, okay.
remembered was I told Jeff Hardy had like the striped beard, the striped goatee thing he had going on here. He put it in stripes, and I told my
Yeah,
barber, I
he
was
did.
like, "Yo," I showed him a picture of him, like, do it exactly like that. I
Uh-huh.
want that style, and he would do
And
these
did he hook
styles.
you up?
Yeah, and he actually took a picture of like, "Yo, can I take a picture of him?" Yeah, sure, go ahead, because that was for his
Uh,
portfolio. So that's how inspirational
yeah.
Jeff was. Like he had us like it was like a style with him. It was like just everything, man. So I gotta ask you. So what do you think about? I don't know if you've watched LFG, or if you watch Evolve, which is like the one of the
I
developmental
maybe watched
brand.
like a highlight or two,
Okay, have you seen this
but
guy
I don't
called
like
Trill?
watch the full on shows.
Have you seen this guy
Who?
called Trill London?
Trey London. I
They,
haven't, no.
some people, yeah, for some people, actually liken him to Jeff Hardy. They're like he's just like Jeff, but he's black. But I'm like, wow, okay. This is, and when I see him, I see some of his
Okay, let me
mannerisms. I'm like, he reminds me so much of Jeff in his younger years. I don't know. I hope this doesn't hurt him. I
Ooh,
hope this benefits him. But yeah,
right.
if you look him up, you'll see. Even if you check out some highlights, you're like, he's kind of
Uh-huh.
like Jeff.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay. I'm gonna go check out some
yeah,
of his stuff. Uh,
yeah.
a Black Jeff Hardy? Hold up, that sounds crazy. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
fire.
It's something, man. So
Mm.
I I gotta ask you, man. You're Latino, right? I take it you're don't let me guess. I'm Puerto Rican or Ecuadorian.
Nah, no,
My bad. I'm gonna stop
no,
guessing.
no. You good, you good. I am Mexican.
Awesome,
Mexican American. Both of my parents are from Mexico. I was born here, but yeah,
awesome.
Mexican is running in the veins and the blood.
I just gotta say thank y'all for existing because y'all have given us so many great wrestlers. Actually, my and I'm not saying it's because you're Mexican. I think if anybody were asking me who my first four favorite wrestlers were,
Yeah.
the Ultimate Warrior, the
Mm.
Rockers, which was Shawn Michaels' old tag team with Mario Jannetty, and Tito Santana, who
Okay.
I am willing to die on that hill and say he should have been WWE champion. Tito Santana should have been the first Mexican American WWE champion because he had the fire and everything. But
Right.
that's wrestling for you. But you know, y'all have given your culture, the Mexican culture, has given us so many great wrestlers. I'm talking about not just Rey Mysterio, not just Eddie Guerrero, but
Mhm.
people like the Garza family, Hector Garza, and now his two nephews, Angel and Umberto, and you have like of course the Lucha Bros. You have over in AEW, you have Bandito, who is the current Ring of Honor world champion, and his brother Gravity, and who are actually those two. A lot of people don't know are actually part of a bigger family. So when you saw you obviously started watching you obviously started after Eddie Guerrero, became the first Mexican WWE champion. I was rooting for him because, like I said, I would say representation matters, and representation gives way to inspiration. Meaning, more and more people are going to want to do it like Eddie Guerrero, like me.
Right.
First black champion was Kofi Kingston. I mean, I'm a bit older now. Kofi's like 2 years older than me, but I'm like, if I was a young 12-year-old boy 13-year-old boy, I'm like, yo, I want to get into wrestling. I want to do it like Kofi Kingston or
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley,
Mhm.
or Mark Henry. These men are
Right.
inspiring. As a member of the Latino community, what are your thoughts on the representation of Latinos in professional
Yeah.
wrestling? More specifically, WB, you got I know you're Mexican, but you
Mhm.
got Damian Priest, who's Puerto Rican,
Right.
who
Right.
recently became world champion a few years ago. Then you have
Mhm.
Lola Vice, who's Cuban, you know, doing her thing, knocking people out left, right, and center. She's from the MMA world. You have Dominic Mysterio, who, in my opinion, is gonna be similar to Cody Rhodes. Like, and then you have, of course, as we mentioned before, Bandito, who is the current Ring of Honor, and I believe might be the first, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, the first Mexican Ring of Honor world champion.
Ooh, is
Um,
he?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And and then you have like several other Latinos. They're churning and burning. And now we have Sherilyn Guerrero, who's another
Mm,
one who is actually making who's another wrestler who's actually the daughter of Eddie Guerrero, who's actually going to be,
yeah.
making her debut very soon. She's training right now. Like, what is your thought process seeing all these people part of your community,
Mhm.
these members of the Latino community, making waves in the world of professional wrestling on a bigger scale now?
Yeah, it's always a beautiful thing to see where you're from represented, but not even just like Mexican people, just like Spanish, Hispanic, Latinos in general. I love it when a wrestler is cutting a promo on TV and they're talking in Spanish. I'm just like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I know some people might not understand it, but it's like, damn, sorry. Like, but it's like people sometimes feel more comfortable speaking in Spanish, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like there is more in terms of like you can find a bunch more Latino, Hispanic wrestlers, like just in WWE, AEW, and in the Indies. It's like there should always still be more. Like oftentimes, I believe Latino and Hispanic wrestlers are like delegated to mid card acts, or they're just regulated, or like I mean delegated to like lower tier of the card, which I don't know if that's like a perception thing that they can't like main event, but it's like, well, no, you just kind of have to give them the chance. Like I use the example, and like Kofi is an incredible example of just like achieving something can result in inspiration. And right now we are seeing the results of being inspired by wrestling when it comes to all the new and up and coming women's wrestlers who say, hey, Bailey and Sasha of Brooklyn made me want to become a wrestler. And that was what, 2015? 10 years
Mhm.
later, so many women wrestlers like, yo, those are the ones that really pushed me to do it. And it's like, like there hasn't been a AEW Latino world champion, like
Yet,
like I just exactly,
yeah,
yeah, so
it's
far,
gonna
which
happen.
is for sure. Like, they just had a chance to maybe give Andrade the opportunity, but they went with Hangman, which is like it's never a sense of like, oh, they did it for any reason in terms of negative. They just like, all right, they just decided to go with Hangman, which is it. It is what it is. Bandito is another one who is like, I think for a lot of people, whereas like the wrestler of 2025, because he just put on so many bangers. Like he was killing it in the ring,
Woo,
and it's
man.
like, and what an explosion of like randomness when it came to his like tag team with Brody King.
Yeah.
It was like I would have never expected that tag team itself to one get as over and then go as far as like winning the tag team championship. Um, but it's like a beautiful thing. Like I, even though WWE is like gearing more to some political side, that it is what it is. I don't. We don't have to get into that crazy, but like what they did when they had Damian Priest main event with Bad Bunny, it's like, how can you not look at that, see the reaction, see the culture, see the people, hear the music, and just kind of feel proud? Like, regardless if I'm not Puerto Rican, regardless if I'm not, Honduran, Ecuadorian, Dominican, or any of that sorts, like whenever Spanish people are up and they're succeeding and thriving in positions that they haven't been before, I'm nothing but proud. Like, and I try very much to put, Spanish people and just like people of color and like in whatever work that I do. Um, when I'm looking for guests on Ringville, I am very aware of like I don't just want to talk to white dudes. And no disrespect to the white dudes. It's like, but it's like wrestling has been white dudes and white people for how long? Forever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and um and it's like how and it's I live in New York. I'm based in the Bronx. A huge,
I'm right next to
huge
you, brother. I'm I'm I'm
there you
I'm in
go.
Brooklyn. Trust me.
There you go.
I'm in
Um
Brooklyn.
And it's like I kind of would see it as such a disservice if I am in one of the most diverse cities in the world and I'm only speaking to dudes, I'm only speaking to white people. It's like I try very much to talk to different people, different backgrounds, different genders, different sexual orientations, because it's like the world is far more interesting and far more beautiful when you do start to hear different perspectives, different points of views, and different like um like upbringings, because it's just like that's how you kind of learn, and you connect with people. You connect people with people through differences and similarities, and it's like, yo, whenever I can help or put on a Spanish wrestler, a Latino wrestler, it's like, and give them a platform to do something, I absolutely will. And it's like I love what's going on in wrestling right now. I wish there was more. I'm working to try to do, help any kind of wrestler in any way as well. But it's like, yeah, it's like I hope that in the next 10, maybe even less, maybe like next 5 years, like the deal with AAA, it's like kind of breeds more luchadors also in the mainstream of WWE, and then that can branch out into AEW, and like, yo, let's get some. I don't think, has there ever been a Mexican New Japan World Champion,
There hasn't. However,
right?
here is one thing. Here is one thing. If I was Mexican, I would definitely be. I would definitely say this with pride. You I'm trying to say this. I'm trying to be politically correct. No
Mhm.
offense. Your culture has
Yeah.
actually inspired one of the best stables in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
think eventually it's gonna happen. They've had a black champion. They've had numerous white champions. They've had, it's New Japan, so they've obviously had Japanese. I think, and now they have a
Yeah.
Korean champion. There's a not Korean champion. There's a Korean wrestler. I think his name is his I don't want to get his name right, but his name wrong. But his last name was Lee.
Hmm.
If those listening, if you know the last name of that wrestler, please let us know. I just started getting back in New Japan. I'm trying to get back into it,
Hmm.
but my time is very limited. But um,
Yeah.
he did a really sweet haluva kick, or was it yakuza kick, as people in the indies call it, and it looked clean. And I'm sorry, Sami Zayn might kick
Hmm.
my butt for saying this, but it looked clean as Sammy's. But I guess because he was like, guys like weight is like taller than Sammy, he was able to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna happen soon. It's only a matter of time until it happens. I just hope they don't mess up with AAA, because AAA is a very great promotion. Several, they have a lot of great talent. They have a great roster there, and but I don't think they will. I think they'll be okay. But
Yeah.
in actuality, you're actually already helping out the business, because I mean, you're a photographer. I've seen several of your
Mhm.
pictures, so you're doing great right now. I mean, you're actually presenting wrestlers to fans to make them go, wow, that person looks awesome. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I mentioned this on our premiere episode, which I called the explaining the wheel of professional wrestling, where I talk about how yes, the wrestlers are the focal point of professional wrestling, but there are
Yeah.
several parts that help make that wheel go around. So, and photographers
For
is one of
sure.
them, because y'all don't just give us the action ringside, but you also give us those cool shots of, like,
Hmm.
make them look presentable. Like, you might see somebody, your local like battleground, battle club, you know you might
Okay.
there might be a wrestler starting out there, and they might not look by much, but
Right.
once they get in front of KHS's lens, wow, yo, who's that, bro? Who is she, bro? Yo,
Yeah.
are they gonna be
Mhm.
yo, you know what, I'm gonna go buy a ticket just to see that person. Wait, who is that tag team? I just saw KHS. He just did a great shot of them. Yo, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check them out. These shots are looking amazing. You're already helping right now. So
I'm
I gotta
trying to,
ask
man. I
you,
appreciate that.
how'd you get into the photography thing, man? Because you know, um, like I said, I do a little photography. Mine was basic. I can't remember how I got into my. I know it's like all I was thinking was like, you know what, it's kind of cool. I guess the bug might have bit me, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get into it.
Mhm.
And then pandemic happened, so I had a 1 year delay. But once I moved back to New York from North Carolina, I was like, okay, I'm here now. Let me go talk to people. I'm kind of shy, not kind of shy. It's
Yeah,
New York. People could be rough, but I'm a
I
just
feel that. I feel that.
I'm a just say hello, be respectful, and hopefully it leads to a good thing.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, well, it's kind of slow right now. Let me just start taking pictures of landmarks and streets and street
Mhm.
photography, some street photography. So how did it all start out for your brand?
Yeah. Like the photography thing started. It was a unexpected journey.
Okay.
I never grew up wanting to be a photographer. I didn't like have this passion for it. I didn't like look into the history. Um, I wasn't like a fan of like going to museums and looking at photography work. It I fell in love with photography through firsthand experience. And I work in production, like film production, commercials, music videos, all that sort. And a lot of my friends do photography. So I've been exposed and been around photography for, I want to say, for like the last 9 years. I have a friend named Ryan Tony. He is a great photographer, and it's like he would always be working on projects, and I would like light for him. Um, that was like my first introduction into photography in some sorts. But then I started working with somebody named John Abbott, and he is an incredible photographer. He's taken pictures of various CEOs, various presidents, and just like he's been like all around the world. His work is absolutely incredible, and I am his like main lighting technician, so I light everything for him.
Okay.
And I've been working with him for like the past 2 years, or no, probably three now because it's 2026.
Hmm.
And it's like as I was working with him, I just was asking him a bunch of questions, like seeing like how does he figure out what settings, how does he connect with people, how does he light something, and it's just kind of like how does he all bring it together to get a good photograph. And like while doing that, I was also watching how he works and watching how he talks to people, gets people comfortable in the camera. And it's like little by little, I was just like, yo, this is something I like enjoy. And maybe it was at first something I just enjoy watching, but then I was just like, no, wait, it's something I feel like I can do and I want to try. And I was, I kind of jumped into it. Like my first ever like photography session was last year.
Okay.
Uh, I I did a I had a day where I booked like the studio. I told a bunch of friends to come on by, let me take portraits of you. It was just kind of a way for me to test, right?
Hmm.
Because the next day I had invited a bunch of wrestlers and I was going to take portraits of them. Um, so it's like the first ever like wrestling portraits I took was last year in May, and I've had over, I want to say 60, 70 portraits taken now, which is like super exciting, super fire. Like in a year, like I'm very proud of the portfolio that I've built. I'm very proud of the look that I have established. Like I mainly work in like lighting when it comes to film. So it's like I knew I could make it look good. Like I was also just shooting a lot of my pictures like on a cinema camera. So it wasn't even a real like photography camera. But
Hmm.
now, which I'm really excited, I got an actual photography camera, you
Oh
know,
wow. Is
which
that a
is
Nikon?
not no disrespect to Nikon homies, but not. It's a Sony.
Oh
Sony
man.
A7 IV. And like I was looking at different brands, but the reason I went with Nikon is because I own some Sony FX30s. So
Uh-huh.
I already had lenses for Sony's. So it's like I didn't want to get a different brand and then start getting new lenses that I can't use for my other cameras. So I wanted to keep it very universal. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm very excited for this. I have a bunch of ideas that I want to do and like just kind of, like give wrestling, especially in New York, because that's where I'm based. So that's where a lot of my portraits are going to be to like give like New York indie wrestling like a different look and a presentation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's like
definitely.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Actually, I come to think about it, and I'm probably gonna get my butt kicked for this, but I think you're like the only New York-based photographer that does like such great, like I've seen do such great portrait.
Huh.
Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm mistaken. Y'all don't
Mhm.
crucify me, please. Do not come for my head. But I mean, I was thinking J Lee Photography, but I was like, no, J Lee AC. They're actually in they're
Mm.
based out of DMV. Two a great couple, by the way. They're a great couple, man, husband and wife. I've had them on the show too, and
Mm.
they do great work. But they do some great work as well. And you know, we've had I've seen several, like there's one guy, Greg Tech, down in Dallas,
Yeah.
Texas. I said, man, I don't know if I told him if I ever was in Dallas, I would definitely want to get my picture taken by him. I'll pay. I don't mind. That guy does
Right.
great work. But I was
Oh
wondering,
yeah.
who in New York is who based in New York actually does like great portraits? And then I saw
Huh.
yours. Like, wow, do you get? Oh, we got KHS over here. Okay, that's
Oh
awesome, man.
man. I mean, I appreciate that, but there's absolutely great photographers out here too. Like Red Shoes. He is somebody who I've had on the show. He's shot for like
Wait,
PWI.
wait, Red Shoes
He
Media?
Red Shoes Media.
Oh, I wait, he was. I thought he was from New Jersey. Wow, I thought he was from New
He,
Jersey.
he's from New York.
Why did I think he was from Red Shoes? My bad, bro.
Nah,
I thought he was from New
showing
Jersey.
love to Red Shoes for sure. He oh man, he did some of my favorite portraits. I think he posted them last year where he had like this like blue either filter or like his um white balance was like super blue to where it just created this super fire look. Um, then you also have shots by Dev or Des. Hold up, let me get that name right. Let me get that name right because I'm not trying to fuck it up because he's also super dope. He just did something with shots by Dev where he just did something super dope where he like got a bunch of like the House of Glory students and he was
Uh
shooting like in front of a motorcycle and
huh.
it's like just stuff like that is incredible, you know. So it's like there's
Man,
many talented photographers out here. It's
I
like,
hope I
and
can.
I appreciate the love. Yo, don't come for my boy Remy. He chilling, he cool, you know.
I hope
But
I get on that level one day, man. Because I gotta. You see, all like you. I used to when I first started. I see if I see Sony or Nikon, I used to tell people, man, I'm gonna just leave the photo shoot, man. You got a Sony, you got a
yeah,
Nikon. I got
uh-huh.
this Canon. I should with a Canon Rebel T7. So I'm like, man, let
Okay,
me just. I was like, man, let me just leave the photo shoot, man. Y'all gonna put me to
yeah,
shame, man. Then one guy was like, why, bro? It's not the camera, it's you. It's
it
not
is.
the camera. You're the. It all depends on the person. So I was like,
Yeah,
all right, I guess.
like I
You
would
know.
say, um, I would say for anyone who's trying to start photography, right? Like either you're trying to do ringside or portraits. Um, the the thing most important about a photographer, especially if you're taking portraits, is not your gear, is your ability to create a connection with the person in front of the lens and make them feel comfortable.
Right.
Like learning how to pose them, learning how to like, you know, like work the image and like photo space because it's very different than how we see it because the camera sees it differently. But it's like the do not let your equipment like hold you back. Like I said, I was shooting with photos with a non-photography camera. It was a cinema camera, but I was just
Mhm.
like, yo, I'm not gonna not do it because I don't have the equipment. Um, and if you do have a bad camera, try to focus on lighting. Lighting will give you so much more reach, so much more depth, so much more um, quality. It will make it seem like, yo, hold up, what you shooting on? A Nikon, a Sony, a Canon, and then you have like, no, I'm actually shooting on this little thing, you know, like learn how to light, um, because that will go a long way.
Wow. That's great. That's definitely great advice, man. Yeah, your work is definitely crisp, man. And yeah, thank you. My red shoes, my bad. I didn't know that. Like I said, I legitimately thought you were from New Jersey.
Yeah,
My bad about that, man. I mean, technically, I mean, New Jersey is not that far from New York, anyways. Like just the
yeah,
Hudson,
it's right there across the bridge.
yeah, just across the bridge, across the Hudson. But yeah, so now you got, Ringville, man. Like I said, y'all are very well put together media platform. I've seen
Appreciate
you do I've seen you interviews with one of my favorites, Jordy Gem, and several other
Right.
people. Like, how'd you get into like the how'd you get into that part now? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Oh man, you say y'all, but y'all is only me. I do everything right now.
I could have sworn
Like,
somebody it was two of y'all. I
nah.
don't know.
It's
Maybe
like
I see.
sometimes I'll have like a friend help me set up.
Yeah,
But it's like but now like most of the time it's just me. I reach out to guests, I reach out to wrestlers, to the talent. I, figure out the logistics, book the studio, send them a call sheet, do my research, I edit, I record. It's like it's a lot. It's definitely a lot, but it's like we're starting. Well, I'm just starting, so I I need to know how to do everything. So maybe when I get to a point where I am able to hire somebody or like have somebody work for me, I know how to explain what I want them to do because I have experience doing it, you know? And
yeah.
I just can't afford to pay nobody right now. So it's like I'm just eating a bullet. But nah, man, I got into this because I, like I said, like I loved wrestling since I was like 7 years old, and I, as a kid, I did have like that, dream of wanting to be a wrestler. But as I got older, it just wasn't there. But then once I started working in production, I was like, ooh, how can I bring these skills that I've acquired and have them translate over to wrestling? So it's like around, I want to say maybe 2019, 2020, like when the pandemic was like kind of ending, I like
Yeah.
sent out a couple emails to a bunch of wrestling companies and schools. I was like, hey, look, this is the experience that I have. I would love to work in the production side of wrestling. Like if there's ever an opportunity or if there's ever something or that I can do, please feel free to let me know and I will do the best that I can. And I heard back from nobody, which is fair.
Okay.
It's like it is what it is. I'm not owed an answer. It's like, and also it's like, who am I? You know, it's like I'm pretty sure they get a bunch of emails like that. So I spent the next couple years trying to figure out like how to do this, and I don't have any. Well, I do now, but I didn't have any friends or connections in wrestling. So I was just like, damn, how do I like just kind of jump into this and make it work for myself? So I like in 2021, I I really sat down and was just like, okay, what do I want to do? And I've been a fan of like interview shows for years. Chris Van Vliet, like whenever Sean Ross Sapp does interviews on Fightful, Denise Salcedo, she was actually a huge inspiration because talk about seeing someone who is Mexican do it at a level that she's doing it. It's like
Hmm.
I was like, whoa, hold up. And hearing her speak was very, how do I say this? Was very inspiring because I was like, oh, she sounds like me. She has a certain, like, like Mexicans have like a certain accent where we pronounce words or phrases in a certain way. And I was just like, oh man, look at her. She is absolutely killing it. It's like I know the work she's putting in is even if she doesn't know that she's doing it, or it's like she's just working and focusing on her work, it's opening doors for other Mexicans and other Latinos and other Hispanics to do it. So it's like big shout out to Denise Salcedo. So I was just like, okay, I want to interview wrestlers. So I spent like the next year and some change just figuring out the identity of my show, the branding, my persona, the look I wanted to go for, and just like the logistics and like coming up with like the logos of Ringville, even just the name, right? Like, and then my KHS logo that you'll see on like my portraits in the corner. Like, and then I also just spend time like getting comfortable on camera because I am not on camera when I work in film. I'm behind the camera. So like being on camera, I like Remy, I'm pretty sure I don't know if you experienced it because you're a natural on camera, but like being nervous and shy.
Oh
Right.
yeah, when I first started this, so technically I've been dealing with podcasts on and off for 13 years.
Hmm.
When I first started, I was kind of like, because when I first started, I was being mentored by my by George Alonso, who great guy, gave my first start in podcasting,
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, I'm not that good of an interviewer. Let me just go be the booker. You can have George, you can have the podcasters, you can have other people be, the
Yeah.
co-hosts on your
Yeah.
show. I'm just gonna be the behind the scenes guy. I'm more comfortable there. I'm just the booker in this. And this was like back when you had Blog Talk Radio, um,
Mhm.
as one of the I guess you could say the main format for
Yeah.
podcasts. Yeah, and they were just audio. But
Right.
then eventually like we started off on Blog Talk, and then all of a sudden like we were like, you know what, let's up the ante. Let's go video. Everybody's going video now. We can reach out to more people. We were kind of limited with Blog Talk. And I always said Ringside Society is not just for Americans, it's for fans all over the world. We
Oh
want
yeah.
to talk to people in Europe, Africa, uh, Asia,
Mhm.
South America, and so on. And we end up going to StreamYard, which is who we use. But then I was like, man, I don't know how I feel being on video, but like within like the first couple of like episodes, I was like, oh, this is not bad. I just gotta, I'll be okay. And then I had Rob and Kathy with me, who unfortunately couldn't be here due to some personal matters that each of them have. And so I was
Oh,
like,
they're
okay,
good though.
I could feed off them. So
Right.
yeah, that was pretty much it. That's pretty much how it went for me, you
Nice.
know.
So like yeah, like so I then just kind of spent the time trying to get comfortable on camera. I like recorded myself talking to my phone for like 90 days straight,
Yeah.
just trying to, get rid of my stutters, get rid of my like that when I just don't know what to say, I'll say hit them with a or something like that. So and just, speak more fluently, put my thoughts together better. And then I just started reaching out to people in 2022, at the
Yeah.
beginning of 2022, and it's like I reached out to a bunch of wrestlers. I created like a production lookbook that
Mhm.
gave them a rundown of everything. I was like, this is what I want it to be. This is what I want Ringville to look like. This is the type of questions. This is my inspirations, and like this is just uh, what I am doing, because like right now I have the pleasure and just the luxury of like people see my work, right? So it's like if they're ever curious as to like, okay, what am I signing up to do or what am I doing? I just send them my
Yeah.
work. Before that, I didn't have any of that. Um, so I sent a bunch of emails. Some people, said I appreciate that, but no. And then some others just didn't reply. But then the ones that did, like, shout out to them. They really took the chance. And like, yeah, Ringville has been going on for almost 2 years now. And in March, I make 2 years of when the first episode was posted. But in February, I recorded the first couple episodes. So it's like it's the 2 year anniversary. Well, yeah, it's coming up.
And you've done pretty well for yourself. I mean, you interviewed Tim Han Rivera.
Yes,
Me,
sir.
for me to contact that guy, I probably got to talk to his agent's agent. Yeah, we'll do lunch and whatnot,
Yeah.
man, I was like, wow, Tim Han Rivera, man, that guy is definitely, he's making wrestling fun.
He
I
is.
hope I can see a Subway Mania one day, because I know it looks like a great time.
It's
But
a
yeah, you've
it's
been
it's
doing
a
pretty.
super fun time.
Yeah, you've done pretty well for yourself in those 2 years, man. And I just got to say, keep on keeping on, keep on going. I enjoy seeing what I see, and yeah, man. I mean, always, don't let nobody stop you, man. Just keep
I
on, keep on.
appreciate that.
I don't know how much advice I can give you, but I always tell people when they're going to some venture,
Mhm.
um, just keep on going, man, because you never know who's watching. I, for one, like I said, sometimes I'm like, man, I should just end Ringside Society and go find something else to get into. But then hearing people say, wow, I enjoy watching your work. You've inspired me. And I'm not trying to put a feather in my own cap, but just to hear them say that, or, this is my first podcast ever, or when they're done, like, I was so nervous, but then when I went on your podcast, like, it was like everything was chill. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I guess I'm meant to be here. Then I guess I'll stay for whenever. But
Oh yeah.
just keep on keeping on. And if anybody tells you anything negative, Um, always remember that a lot of times when people tell you you can't, or they have something negative to say,
Mhm.
is because they can't do it themselves. They're scared to try it. You know, And the people that can do it and are saying negative things, they're scared because they know that you could be just as good as them, if not better. So those people are scared of competition, which, and I've never been in competition with anybody anyways, because there's room for everybody. There's always room for growth. There's room for everybody to get a piece of the pie, depending on what you want to do. Me personally, I tell people, hey, go listen to Ringville. Go. I mean, I'm not gonna get upset. I'm gonna listen to Ringville afterwards. So I mean, go listen to Ringville. Don't just listen to Ringside Society. When you get up in the morning, do you want to eat the same cereal? No. Sometimes one. I always have this analogy. I've had this for the longest time.
Yeah.
One morning you wake up, you might want some Apple Jacks. The next morning you might not. You might want some Lucky Charms. The next morning after that, you might want some Honey Nut Cheerios. Your variety is great. So that's why I always tell people, man, like, one thing about me is there's no competition. I could care less. I do this for fun. This is my nightclub on a Saturday night. This right here. So
hell yeah, man. I truly appreciate that. Like, thank you for the very kind words and advice. Like, yo, man, you've had 13 years in this. It's like your voice and your advice absolutely comes with a certain kind of weight and a certain kind of longevity that not many others have. So I truly appreciate that.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you, man. I just got a couple more questions before we cut it down, man. So, as a producer and host of a podcast and also a photographer, between those two hats that you wear, impressive hats, by the way, what is the most profound thing you have learned so far?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would say, honestly, don't box yourself in and be very open to the idea of doing anything, not even just solely in wrestling, but in like life. Because I never thought I was going to be a photographer. I never thought I was going to be like a producer or host of a talk show in wrestling. Like, I'm a pretty shy person, and it's like this has helped me like break out of that shell a little bit, but like just kind of being on this journey and experiencing the things I've been able to experience, like has been incredible. I've done things I've never thought I would be able to do. Like this past weekend on Valentine's Day, I ran the production of Fuego Lucha Valentine's Day show. Like, I had 3 cameras running, and I was taking portraits there as well. And it's just like I never would have thought to be doing it, and I'm just like, oh wow. And look, this is gonna be a little bit of like, this is good advice, but you have to kind of do your part in it too. If somebody says, hey, can you do this? And you don't know if you can or not, say yes. Go do that shit. Because you can always figure it out before you have to do it. Like the first time I had to record a show, they were like, yo, would you be able to do this? And I was just like, yeah. But best believe, after I left that conversation, I went to my YouTube University. It's like, how do I do this? What angles do I get? Or like, what camera should I use? Or, just all that sorts. And I just kind of figure it out. And you just prepare the best way that you can. And it's like that then opens up other opportunities and other connections and other other doors for you to kind of go in and learn. So yeah, like do not box yourself in. You always know more than you think. And like your work is always much more valuable than what you think.
Awesome. That's great, man. So my last question, to wrap up the show, in regards of Ringville, where do you see that brand going in 5 years? Now, here's what I want you to do for me. Don't stop, because we're gonna see you in 5 years. You're not gonna retire. You're gonna do this in 5 years. But where do you see yourself? Who do you see on the show in 5 years? What do you see Ringville doing?
Oof. Like, I definitely want to do interviews inside of a ring. Like, it's called Ringville and it's wrestling based. So it's like, I would love to collaborate with companies and like schools to have like interviews inside of an actual wrestling ring, especially where I would be able to light them, light this, like the setting, and like just make it look super dope. Um, and I want to keep talking to indie wrestlers. Like indie wrestling is just such a beautiful business to where it gives life to all of wrestling. You know, it's like without indie wrestling, there's no what WWE, no AEW,
Oh yeah.
no New Japan. And it's like I would kind of love to just help indie wrestling in whatever way that I can and make it a much more presentable space, but also a fun, safe, and just like, you know, like you said, there's really no competition here. It's like everybody can eat. It's wrestling, y'all. Like there's like people like different things, they gravitate towards different things. It's like I try to always be very respectful and just try to do things in a professional way. And it's like, yeah, if people watch other stuff, good. They have to. It's like a healthy industry is good for everyone. And it's like if one person or one company or one podcast or one whatever dominates all of wrestling, it gets pretty bad. Yeah, I remember WWE in like 2018, 2019, how bad that
Oh
thing
yeah.
was. It was until AEW came around, it was like, oh shit, hold up, we have to do something because they're actually really good and they are actual competition. So yeah, I want to, I don't know if I ever want Ringville to be like my full-time thing, but I want to do it in a capacity of like full-time where it's like I go all over not only the US but all over the world and talk to wrestlers from different backgrounds, from different like parts of the world, and just kind of like bring a spotlight to indie wrestling because it's like it's done so much for me and I absolutely enjoy. I love indie wrestling.
Yeah. You'll get there. Where there's a will, there's a way. But if I could tell you one thing, I don't know if you've been to Japan yet. When you get to Japan, you have to check out Ribeiro Steakhouse.
Ooh,
I haven't gone there to eat yet. I'm gonna eat there one day. I'm gonna eat there one
huh?
day. I might have to like because and I'm hopefully I'll probably do like a TikTok review. I'll see if the owner will be cool with it. One of my
Oh yeah.
actually one of my goals with Ringside Society,
Yeah.
either get that owner or his son on this show so we could talk about the history of Ribeiro and the memories they've had.
Mm.
I've met the owner before. I
Oh,
remember one night I was in Tokyo. I made it a goal to actually see that place in person. It's small, but
yeah.
there is a lot of history. You could feel the history
Mm.
in there by seeing all those pictures and
Yeah.
everything.
Beautiful.
But whenever you go there, and whenever you go, I know you're gonna make it there eventually. Make sure
Mm.
you check out Ribeiro and make sure you like take as much pics as you can. Hopefully you get
Right.
an interview with him as well too.
Right.
And yeah, you're right about that whole one podcast thing for wrestling. Like, yeah, I mean, and this is why I implore y'all listen to different podcasts because I might ask, KHS, yo, what do you think about, Mexican about the Mexican wrestlers and Latino wrestlers as general, in general being
Mm.
represented. You
Yeah.
might have another question in regards to that. You might ask him. You might want to ask him, yo, you might ask him, hey, okay, if you could team with somebody, who would it be from the
Right.
Latino community? Stuff like that,
Right. Yeah.
different questions, different answers,
Mhm.
so that you're definitely right about that. And like I said, I hope you get to do all that you can with Ringville. Don't stop. I expect I'm expecting to see you in 5 years,
Yeah.
doing this. And by the way, if I could say something real quick,
Mhm.
no flattery intended, but for some reason, when I see your work, you remind me of the great Speedy over in AEW.
Mm.
For some reason, I don't know. When
Yeah.
I see you, I see him,
I
and that's
appreciate
not
it.
a bad thing. That I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to
His
say is,
work is incredible too.
yeah, top notch, man. Shout out to Speedy as well. Over that, for those of you that don't know who Speedy is, he's the guy that gives you all those cool AEW promo photos. That's Speedy. I
Facts.
believe he's based out of Florida, but
Fire.
yeah, keep up the great work, man. So, yeah, before we shut this show down, I just gotta say, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on our show. We really and truly appreciate it. You know, I'm just sorry that my two co-hosts Rob Bass and Kathy Knight couldn't be here. That's another reason why. That's another reason why I say listen to different podcasts, because you got Ringville, who are like drink champs. I mean this in a good way, because y'all got that cool vibe,
Yeah.
that chill vibe. And then you got Ringside Society, who you got three co-hosts for most of the time. You got me, who's here in Brooklyn, New York, but then you got Rob, who's in Delaware. So now you got that country kind of Mark Briscoe, Jay Briscoe, you know, twang, for lack of a better term. And then you got Kathy Knight, who's over in Louisiana, home of the good times, beignets and whatnot, who's giving y'all that Cajun swag as well too.
Yeah.
So you got three different types of backgrounds on one podcast, hitting whatever guests on there at once. So this is why you got to listen. And then you got places, you got other podcasts like Jobber Tears, who are pretty good. Well, another great staple of the community. And then you got, so many other podcasts outside. You got Black Wrestling, who's doing their thing. So, so many to choose from. Listen to them all if you can. And, like I said, variety is a great thing. And with that, so once again, thank you very much. We have some comments here, actually. Our good friend Danny Britt saying that how you have such good photos. Danny, thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, Instagram does not let us show our for some, they don't let us show comments on here. They don't let us highlight them. But let's see. We have Rambling Out Wrestling Pod, who said shots by Dev. He's mentioning him. He said he's the man. And then we have another Shane Rose, Shane.Rose 149 that says the man. Or I don't know if he's talking about shots by Dev or KHS, but Shane, thanks for joining us as well.
Shane Rose, that coming from him, crazy. Up and coming wrestler, you should definitely check out his work. And Rambling Wrestling, super fire podcast too. Check them out.
Yeah, shout out to Rambling Wrestling podcast. Thanks for checking us out. But with that being said, before we shut this show down, where can KHS, where can fans find you on social media when they want to check out your work, when they want to, or where can wrestle, or when they want to check out Ringville, or even purchase Ringville merch? And where can wrestlers find you as well?
Yeah.
You want to get that nice close-up shot, whether it's this side that's good or this side that looks good. I've been told I look like Denzel from the side right now.
Shit. Hold up.
Where can they find you?
I didn't know Denzel was here the whole time. So you can find me on Instagram at Kevin Herrera Sanchez _. You can find me on TikTok and X/Twitter at Ringville. I post almost every single day. On YouTube is KHS Ringville. I try to post new interviews every single Monday. And then on Tuesdays all the way to Saturdays, I'll post like clips and reels of the interviews that I've done in the past. And then my personal, if you ever want to see some of my film work or some just like other stuff I'm doing, at Not Bad Kev. That's my personal Instagram. And yeah, thank you very much for having me. I truly appreciate it. It was like I had to reach out to be on, because it's like the work y'all do is incredible. I absolutely love the energy and just like the banter there is between y'all. So I was just like, yeah, this is one I definitely have to do. And I had such a great time. And it's like in 5 years, I'll come back, or even less than 5 years, but I'm coming back to do another one.
Hey, you're always welcome, man. Trust me, you're always welcome. Just keep on doing what you do, man. You're doing great work.
I'm trying. But yeah.
Yeah, so y'all, once again, y'all make sure y'all follow this man. He's doing a lot of great stuff. Pro wrestlers, if you want to look good and you're in New York, make sure you hit up this man. It does, even if you're not from, if you're from Houston, Texas, all the way over in LA, in Los Angeles, California, if you're from Toronto, down in Miami, doesn't matter, from Japan, England, and you're in New York and you want to get that great shot of yourself, check out this man, KHS. He's doing great work. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. my eyelids are getting heavy, my stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and a nap. Maybe not in that particular order, but before I partake in those activities, if you want to find me on social media, for those of y'all that are watching and listening, if you want to find me or follow me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool things, but I do go to a lot of cool places. I might be in Toronto next week or Denver, or I might be in Paris next month. You can definitely follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. Our TikTok is the same thing at the Remy Blue. I'm also on Blue Sky at remyblue.bsky.social. And I'm also on Facebook, as you guessed it, Remy Blue. You can find me on there. However, more importantly, our podcast is actually on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. We're also on Spotify. We're also on Teespring too, where we sell our official Ringside Society merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have coffee mugs. We have 3 designs right now. We're actually starting our In Your City series, where we have the colors that several cities identify as, coming to our store very soon. We already have our Mardi Gras shirt on. Shout out to the great folks over there in New Orleans. We have New York coming up real soon, Chicago, Miami, several of them, and we have several other cities in the works. So watch out for that. So that way, if you're a fan of ours, you can also rep us and rep your city at the same time. And once again, as I say, all proceeds from those sales go back into keeping our show afloat. They do not go back into our pockets. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where you can see cool interviews like this one, like the one we had with Lula Arena, like the one we had with Lucy from the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast, and most recently, Evelyn Mimi J of the Tech Wrestle Life Podcast. We had her on here as well. To see those episodes, it's really simple. It's not even rocket science. Just go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society. I want to see that really good-looking dark blue and light blue yin-yang sign with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos, because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning live tonight. Thank you very much. We really and truly appreciate it. We strive on being one of the best and realest wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could, should, and would listen to. And we're not going to stop doing it. As a matter of fact, since we love y'all so much, we love the fans so much, special announcement. You heard it here, right now, first exclusive. WWE 2K26 is coming out. Do you know what that means? That means it's time for our yearly giveaway. That's right. We'll be giving away 2 copies of WWE 2K26. One for Xbox, one for PlayStation. All you got to do is do your research. If you get the answers right, it's 3 questions. Once you get the answers right, you'll be entered into the raffle. And if your name is picked, you will be the proud owner of a copy of WWE 2K26. And if you've seen how it's looking this year, it's pretty interesting. We got the Attitude Era, so definitely stay tuned for that. We'll be announcing the questions very soon. But with that being said, once again, thank y'all. We really and truly appreciate it. To those of you that tuned in tonight live, thank you very much. We really and truly appreciate it. To those of you that are going to listen later on, you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And to those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, just stop what we're doing. Well, like myself at Gordon Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. So with that being said, I just want to let everybody know that, we see it. We're very well with it. Everybody and their grandparents and their parents of a podcast. But guess what? We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. Danny, I understand that. I don't blame him. It's a cool looking game. Guess what? Enter the raffle. If you win, you'll be the coolest mom. Not that you're not a cool mom already, but you will be the coolest mom ever to the rest of his classmates, because you got your son WWE 2K26. So with that being said, I'm gonna say this right now. It's the end. So I'm gonna say it right now. One time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for Kevin Herrera Sanchez, KHS, who is doing great things with Ringville and wrestling photography. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we'll be back maybe later on this week, maybe next week, with another impressive guest. another impressive episode. But until then, we just have 4 favors for y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and enjoy wrestling. We out. Peace.
I don't know. We lied.